Senior year was supposed to be simple. Keep my head down, survive the rumors, pretend I didn't exist in the same universe as the people everyone else worshipped. And no one was worshipped more than Tyler Hayes, quarterback. Honor roll student, the kind of guy whose smile could silence an entire hallway. He was everything I wasn't. Confident, admired, untouchable. We never spoke. We didn't run in the same world. He had parties, spotlights, and people fighting for his attention. I had notebooks, silence, and a seat near the window where no one looked twice at me. But one afternoon, out of nowhere, he stopped me by the lockers and said, "Come with me. I need to show you something." And before I could think, before I could breathe, he was leading me to his car, driving me to his house, like he'd made up his mind about something he couldn't say out loud. What happened in that house changed everything I thought I knew about him and about myself. If you've ever felt invisible until one person finally saw you, stay with this story until the end. And if you're ready for an emotional journey you won't forget, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this story begins quietly, but it doesn't stay quiet for long.
Most days at Northridge High felt like walking through fog. People brushed past me, talked around me, lived lives I wasn't part of. I wasn't bullied or hated. I was something worse. Ignored. But that day, the air felt different. Like something was waiting for me, and I didn't know whether to run from it or walk right into its hands. I remember the noise in the hallway. Lockers slamming, sneakers squeaking on the floor, someone laughing too loudly. I kept my head down, like always, hugging my books against my chest as I went to grab something from my locker. That's when I heard it. A voice I knew instantly, even though he'd never said my name before. "Ethan." I froze. My hand stopped on the metal handle. Nobody called me by my name here. Teachers did, because they had to, but students, they barely remembered I existed. Slowly I turned, and he was standing there. Tyler Hayes. 6 feet of everything I wasn't, broad shoulders under his red varsity jacket. Sandy blonde hair messy in that intentional way. Green eyes that had a habit of smiling before his mouth did. There were people everywhere, but the hallway widened around him. I blinked once. Hi. He looked nervous. Tyler Hayes. Nervous. I thought maybe I was hallucinating. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Talk." I repeated, because my brain had stopped working. "Yeah, just come with me." I looked around, expecting someone to jump out and laugh, like it was a prank, but his eyes were steady, almost pleading. "Now!" I asked, "Please." He didn't wait for my answer. He just started walking, and something inside me, curiosity, fear, heat, made me follow him. We left the hallway, went past the gym, crossed the parking lot. He didn't say a word. When we reached his car, a dark blue truck he'd fixed up with his dad, he finally turned. "You can get in," he said. "I promise I'm not going to murder you or something." I laughed awkwardly. "That's comforting." He smiled, just a little. "Seriously, I just don't want to talk here." I got in. The truck smelled like leather and something warm. Maybe him. He drove in silence, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping him steady. His jaw was clenched. His leg bounced nervously. "Are you okay?" I asked. He nodded too quickly. "Yeah, just trying to figure out how to say something." "To me?" "Yeah." My stomach twisted. "Why me?" He glanced at me. "You're the only one who doesn't expect anything from me." I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what any of this meant. We reached his house, a quiet place at the edge of town, 2 floors, big windows, a porch swing. "Nobody's home," he said. "They're gone until tonight." The way he said it sent a shiver down my spine. He led me inside, dropped his keys on the counter, ran a hand through his hair like he was about to jump out his skin. I stood there, book still in my arms, waiting. Finally, he said, "Do you remember last week?" I blinked. "Last week?" "The day you stayed in the art room during lunch." Heat rose to my neck. "Yeah, I always stay there." "I know." "You know?" He nodded. "I see you, Ethan." He said it like it was important, like no one else did. I swallowed. "Okay, so what did you want to talk about?" He paced once, twice, then he stopped in front of me. Close. Too close. I don't know how to say this, he murmured. I've never said out loud to anyone. My pulse hammered. Say what? He closed his eyes for a second, gathering courage. When he opened them, something raw lived there, something I'd never seen in him before. I'm tired, he said softly. Tired of pretending. I stared at him, hard in my throat. Pretending what? His breath shook. Pretending to be the guy everyone thinks I am. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. He stepped even closer. I could feel the warmth from his body, the tension, the fear. You ever feel like you're living someone else's life? He asked. Every day, I whispered. That made him smile, sad, relieved, like he'd been waiting to hear that. He reached for my arm, hesitated, then placed his hand there gently, warm, careful. I brought you here because I trust you, he murmured. I don't trust anyone else at school. Not with this. With what? His fingers tightened just a little. He looked at me like he was bracing for impact. I like someone, he said. Someone I'm not supposed to like. My chest ached. I tried to breathe. Tyler. And I don't know what to do, he whispered. I don't know how to stop it. Stop what? He swallowed hard. His voice dropped barely above a breath. The way I look at you. Everything inside me froze. My books slipped from my arms and hit the floor with a soft thud. He didn't even glance at them. He just looked at me, like I was the only thing that made sense in his world of noise and expectations. Tyler, I breathed. What are you saying? He laughed shakily. I think you know. My heart was racing. My hand was shaking. This couldn't be real. But it was. It was real in the way his voice broke, in the way his fingers trembled against my skin. He stepped closer still, until our chests almost brushed. I took you here because I didn't want anyone to see how I look at you, he said. Because I can't hide around you anymore. I couldn't move. Then he whispered words I never imagined hearing from the most popular guy in school. But if I'm wrong, tell me, and I'll stop right now. His face was inches from mine, his breath warm, his eyes terrified. My voice cracked as I whispered back, You're not wrong. And everything in the room changed. I don't know what I expected after saying those 3 words, You're not wrong, but I didn't expect silence. Not this kind. Not the kind that felt alive, tight, pulsing between us like a second heartbeat. Tyler didn't move. Neither did I. He just stood there, inches from me, breathing like he'd run a mile. His hand was still on my arm, warm and unsure, like he was afraid I'd disappear if he let go. Finally, he whispered, Say it again. I swallowed. You're not wrong. His eyes closed for a moment, like he needed those words to steady himself. When he opened them, something in him had changed, not bigger, not louder, just clearer. He reached behind him and pushed the front door shut with a soft click. That sound echoed inside me. We were alone, locked in, no hallway, no audience, no pressure to pretend. Just him and me. He took a small step back, rubbing his hands together like he didn't know what to do with them. I don't want to screw this up, he said. I don't want to scare you. You're not, I said softly. I'm just trying to understand what's happening. He let out a shaky breath. What's happening is, I can't hide it anymore, and I'm tired of trying. I sat on the edge of the couch because my legs felt too weak to keep holding me up. Tyler paced once, then twice, running his hand through his hair like it was the only thing keeping his thoughts from exploding. Finally, he stopped in front of me. Not too close. Not far. Just close enough for me to feel the weight of every thought in his head. When did it start? I asked quietly. He let out a breathy laugh. I don't know. Maybe sophomore year? Maybe the day I saw you drawing in the courtyard. You were alone. You looked peaceful, like you didn't need anyone else. I shook my head. I've never felt like that. Maybe not, he said, but you look like someone who wasn't pretending. And I was pretending all the time. That hit me harder than I expected. This boy, the school's golden son, admitting he was built out of pressure and expectations instead of confidence. He sat beside me slowly, like he was afraid he'd break the couch. Or break me. I used to watch you. he said. Not in a creepy way. Just from a distance. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. You never tried to impress anyone, he said. You never fought for attention. And that made me notice you even more. I didn't think you even knew my name. His smile was small, almost shy. Ethan, I knew your name long before I ever said it. Something fluttered painfully in my chest. We sat there in silence again, but this time it wasn't awkward. It was warm, heavy, charged. Tyler leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Can I ask you something? Yeah. Why weren't you scared when I told you I liked someone? I took a slow breath. Because I knew you weren't talking about a girl. He turned his head toward me, eyes wide. How? He whispered. Because no one looks at a friend the way you look at me, I said. And no one hides at hard unless they're terrified people might notice. His jaw tightened. His breathing picked up. You're right, he murmured. I am terrified. Of what? He laughed bitterly. Of losing everything I have. My team, my friends, my dad's trust. I looked at him carefully. What about losing yourself? He stared at me like I'd said something dangerous. He leaned back, closing his eyes. I don't know who I am without all that. Maybe it's time to find out, I said gently. His eyes opened again. With you, if you want. He stared at me like the world had just split open beneath us. I do, he said quietly. I want that more than I wanted anything. He hesitated before adding, but I don't know how. My heart twisted. You don't have to know how. Just be honest with me. Tyler nodded slowly. Then he reached out very carefully and brushed his fingers against mine, barely touching, barely breathing. That tiny contact sent heat through my entire body. I didn't pull away. He whispered, this is the part where you tell me to stop. I'm not going to. His hand slid fully into mine. Warm. Huge. Shaking. You're shaking, I said. He laughed nervously. I'm scared out of my mind. I'm right here. He swallowed, his Adam's apple rising slowly. I know. He moved closer until our knees touched. Then he whispered, can I tell you something else? Yes. I didn't bring you here just to confess. His voice dropped. I brought you here because I can't hold it in anymore. And because I wanted to be close to you. Something inside me caved. Softly. Completely. I leaned in, not all the way, just enough to show I wasn't running. His breathing hitched. Tyler, I whispered, it's okay. He closed his eyes, forehead resting lightly against mine. Everything in me froze and melted at the same time. He whispered, voice shaking, if I cross this line, I can't go back. Then don't go back, I said. Come forward. His breath trembled against my lips, 1 inch away, 1 heartbeat away. Everything we'd both been afraid to want. Then, a sudden, sharp sound outside. A car door. Footsteps. Tyler's head snapped up, panic flooding his expression. My dad, he breathed. He's home, early. The color drained from his face. And just like that, everything changed again. The moment Tyler said, my dad, everything inside him snapped tight, like a wire pulled too hard. His body went stiff, his breathing shallow. He wasn't the confident boy from school anymore. He was terrified. He jumped to his feet, so fast the couch shook. Ethan, go upstairs, he hissed. Second door on the right. Hurry. I stood too, my heart racing. Tyler. Please, he begged, eyes wide, voice trembling. Just go. I'll explain later. I didn't argue. Something in his voice said this wasn't a moment to test. I rushed up the stairs, footsteps soft against the carpet. Before I turned the corner, I glanced back. Tyler was standing in the middle of the living room, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand, trying to force his panic away, trying to look normal, trying to erase every trace of what had just happened. And then the front door opened. I ducked into the guest room and closed the door quietly. I wasn't hiding from being seen. I was hiding from whatever lived in Tyler's silence. I pressed my ear gently against the door. Heavy boots on hardwood. A deep voice, sharp, commanding. Why's your truck out front? Thought you'd be at practice. Tyler's voice came out strained. Coach let us out early. His dad grunted. That's so. Then came silence, the thick, dangerous kind that tells you someone is being stared hard. What's wrong with you? His father asked. You look like you've seen a ghost. I'm fine, Tyler said quickly. Too quickly. You're breathing weird. You sick? No, just tired. Another pause. Longer this time. Your mom's not here. She left something for you in the kitchen. Okay. Then footsteps. Slow, heavy. Then the fridge opening. Why are there 2 water bottles open? His dad asked. My stomach twisted. Tyler hesitated. I was thirsty. You drink both at once now? Silence again. Then something hit the counter, hard. You're lying, his father said. His voice wasn't loud. But it didn't need to be. Tyler's voice shook. I'm not. You think I don't notice when something's off with you? He stepped closer. I could hear his boots, hear the air shift, hear Tyler swallow. What's going on? His father asked. Who's here? My heart dropped. If he came upstairs, if he opened the door, if he saw me. I backed away from the door, my pulse pounding in my ears. But then Tyler spoke. Not confident, not bold, just desperate. No one, he said. It's just me. His father didn't believe him. If I find out you're hiding something. His voice trailed off, but the threat hung heavy in the air. I didn't know the man, but I didn't need to. I could hear everything I needed in the way Tyler breathed. Minutes passed. More footsteps. A cabinet opened, then closed. And then, finally, his father went upstairs. I froze. I could hear him checking rooms. His heavy steps moving from one door to the next. The bathroom, empty. The office, empty. The master bedroom, empty. And then, his shadow passed under the guest room door. He grabbed the doorknob. The metal clicked. He was about to open it. But then Tyler called from downstairs, voice strained. Hey, Dad, can you help me with the water heater? It's making that noise again. Silence. Then the father muttered something under his breath and walked back downstairs. The doorknob released. I exhaled for the first time in a minute. 5 minutes later, Tyler rushed into the room and closed the door behind him, leaning his back against it. He looked shaken, truly shaken, eyes glassy, hands trembling. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I didn't think he'd come home. Are you okay? I asked. He nodded weakly. I didn't want him to see you. He would have. He stopped himself. He would have what? Tyler shook his head. Doesn't matter. Let's just get you out of here without him noticing. Tyler. He didn't look at me. Tyler, look at me. He lifted his eyes, and for the first time they looked young, fragile, scared. I don't understand, I said softly. Why are you so afraid of him? He swallowed hard. Because he knows me better than anyone, and he hates anything he can't control. And you think he'd hate this? Tyler laughed, a sad, broken sound. He'd try to beat it out of me. My chest tightened. His fear wasn't imagined. It was learned. Come here, I said quietly. He stepped toward me like he wasn't sure he was allowed to. I placed a hand on his arm. You don't have to hide from me, I said, ever. His jaw clenched, emotion pressing at the edges of his voice. You don't get it, he said. When you're the popular guy, the quarterback, the golden boy, people don't let you change. They don't let you be anything else. You're allowed to be human. He shook his head. Not in my house. The words hit me like a punch. I reached for him again. Tyler. He stepped closer, so close I could feel his breath. His voice dropped, trembling. When I'm with you, he whispered, I don't feel scared. I felt something inside me break open. Slowly, quietly. He looked at me like I was the only safe place he had left. And then, a door slammed downstairs. His father shouted his name. Tyler's eyes widened in panic. He's looking for me. He grabbed my hand, squeezing it hard. If he comes up here, he whispered, voice cracking, promise me you won't say anything. Promise you won't let him know what I feel for you. And then he said the words that shook me more than anything that had come before. Because if he finds out, I'll lose you. Tyler's father's footsteps thundered through the hallway like a warning. Not loud, heavy, not rush-controlled. Like each step was meant to remind the house who it belonged to. Tyler stood frozen in front of me, hands still gripping mine, breath shallow and shaking. He won't leave this floor until he finds me, Tyler whispered. I know him. What do you want me to do? I asked. He pulled his hand away, eyes filled with fear that made my stomach twist. I want you safe, he said. Hide in the closet. Please. Tyler, I'm begging you, Ethan. I didn't argue. Not this time. Something about the way he said my name made the air feel dangerous. I stepped into the closet, and he closed the door almost completely, just enough of a gap for air, not enough to be seen. From inside, I could hear everything, every boot step, every breath, and then his father's voice. Close. Too close. Tyler, why weren't you answering me? Tyler forced a laugh, brittle and thin. Sorry, I was changing. His father scoffed. What? You need all day to change a shirt. I could picture the way Tyler was probably rubbing the back of his neck. The nervous tell I'd already memorized. No, What's wrong with you lately? His father snapped. You're jumpy. Distracted. The coach says you missed 2 easy passes yesterday. I was tired. You're always tired lately. There was a pause. A long, cold pause. Then his father said in a lower voice, You hiding something from me? My chest tightened. Tyler didn't answer. I heard him breathe in, slow, shaky, like he was trying to steady himself. Then the closet door moved. Just a hair. His father was checking the room. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I kept one hand clamped over my mouth. Why is that closet open? His father asked. Because I left it open. Tyler's voice was quick, sharp. Is that a problem? Another cold silence. Then the door swung wider. I saw his father's boots. Black, heavy, clothes enough to touch. He stared into the closet, but Tyler stepped between us. I said I left it open. Tyler repeated, louder this time. His father didn't move right away. I could practically feel the suspicion in the air, thick, choking. Finally he grunted. Humph. You're acting weird, boy. Then stopped staring at me like I'm about to confess something. Tyler snapped. It stunned both of us. There was a Tyler from school, the one who fought back, who stood tall. But here in his own home, that confidence felt dangerous. His father stepped closer, voice low. You watch your tone. I'm 18, Tyler fired back. I can have a tone. You can have whatever tone I allow you to have. The closet door trembled, or maybe it was just my hands. You don't own me, Tyler whispered. His father laughed without humor. You think you're grown because you can throw a ball? Because the school crowns you king. A step closer. Let me tell you something, son. Life doesn't care how popular you are. Life cares about discipline. Another step. You've been slipping. You think I don't notice? You think your little secrets aren't going to catch up to you. Secrets. The word hit like a fist. I don't have secrets, Tyler said, his voice cracking on the lie. His father breathed out. You better not. Then he turned and walked out, muttering something about game film and wasted potential. His footsteps faded down the stairs. The slam of the front door carried the weight of years. I stayed in the closet until I heard Tyler exhale, a shaky, broken sound. When he opened the door, he didn't look like the boy everyone adored. He looked like someone who'd been holding up a collapsing ceiling for years. He sank onto the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, hands covering his face. I stepped out slowly. Tyler. He didn't look up. Do you get it now? He whispered. I sat beside him gently. Get what? This, he said, motioning vaguely at the house. His chest, the air around him. This is why I can't be what I want. Why I can't say anything. Why I'm so awful at trying with you. You're not awful, I said softly. He let out a bitter laugh. I'm terrified, Ethan. Terrified of him. Terrified of everyone else. Terrified of myself. I touched his shoulder lightly. He didn't pull away. You don't have to be afraid with me, I said. He lifted his head, eyes red-rimmed, jaw clenched to keep it from trembling. That's the problem, he whispered. I'm not afraid when I'm with you. And when I'm not afraid, I start wanting things I'm not allowed to want. My chest tightened. Like me? He closed his eyes, his voice barely a breath. Yes, like you. We sat there for a long moment, not touching, not speaking. But the space between us felt charged, full of everything he was finally admitting. Then he whispered, I don't know how to stop feeling this way. You don't have to stop, I said. He opened his eyes again, searching mine. You mean that? Yeah. His next breath shook. He leaned closer, slow, hesitant, his forehead almost touching mine. Ethan, yes. If I take this step, things are going to get complicated. They already are. He let out a small, sad laugh. Fair point. Then, finally, he said the words he'd been holding back since the day he first looked at me in the hallway. I don't want to push you away anymore. I felt my heart break open in the best way. But before I could answer, before either of us could move, the front door slammed again. His father was back. And this time, he called my name. Hearing my name fall from his father's mouth felt like the floor dropped out from under me. Not shouted, not angry, just spoken, calm and deliberate, like he had discovered something and was already preparing the consequences. Downstairs, the front door clicked shut. Boot steps echoed across the hardwood with slow, precise rhythm. Tyler's eyes widened, his face draining of color. He knows, he whispered. God, he knows you're here. How? I breathed. I don't know, Tyler said, voice tight. But he wouldn't say your name unless he was sure. Fear crawled under my skin, cold and electric. This wasn't the kind of man you reasoned with. This was the kind who demanded obedience and punished everything else. Tyler stood quickly and pulled me behind him toward the closet again. I'm not hiding, I whispered. You are, he said firmly. Please, Ethan, just this once, don't argue. There was no time to fight him. His father was already climbing the stairs. Each step slow, heavy, controlled. Tyler shut the closet door almost completely, just like before. Only a crack of light. I crouched low, heart beating violently against my ribs. Tyler, his father said, voice steady as a blade. Where is he? Tyler didn't answer. I know he's here. A breath, a pause, a dangerously calm exhale. Open the door. No. The quiet rebellion in Tyler's voice shook me. He'd never sounded braver or more scared. His father stepped closer. I heard the floor creak under his weight. You think lying helps you? I'm not lying. You let him in my house, his father said, and you hid him from me. He's my friend, Tyler said, but the way his voice cracked on the word friend made it clear it was only half true. His father scoffed. Your friend? Since when do you bring friends into your room and lock the door? I closed my eyes. He knew, or he suspected enough to be dangerous. You don't get to decide my friends, Tyler said. I decide everything in this house, his father snapped, and I will not tolerate secrets. Another step. He was right outside the closet now. Tyler moved, blocking the door with his body. I could see his shadow through the crack, tall, tense, shaking. What are you hiding? His father demanded. Nothing. Move. No. The silence that followed wasn't silence at all. It was a storm winding itself tight, ready to break. You think I don't notice what's going on with you? His father said, voice dropping. You think I don't see how strange you've been? The way you avoid talking about girls? The way you've been acting around that boy. Tyler's breath caught. His father heard it. Oh, the man said quietly. So I am right. Tyler's voice trembled. You don't know anything. I know enough. He reached for the closet door. Tyler grabbed his arm. His father froze. You don't touch me, he warned. You don't search my room. Tyler fired back, voice cracking but firm. You think you can stop me? Tyler swallowed. No, but I'll try. His father let out an ugly laugh. You really think he cares about you? Hiding won't make him stay, son. The words hit Tyler like a slap. His father continued, crueler now. Boys like him disappear. They always do. And when he leaves, you'll come crawling back, like all confused kids do. Something inside Tyler snapped. No, he shouted. You don't get to talk about him. You don't get to talk about me like that. His father stepped closer, voice low. I will not have a son who... Don't say it. Tyler choked. Shames his family. Tyler's breath hitched like he'd been punched. I couldn't stay hidden anymore. I pushed open the closet door and stepped out. Stop, I said, my voice shaking but loud enough to slice through the tension. Both of them turned. Tyler's eyes were wild, terrified. His father's eyes narrowed like a predator's. So, his father said softly, there he is. Tyler moved instantly, stepping between us. Don't talk to him. You're protecting him? Yes. His father's jaw tightened. Move. No. There was a long, suffocating pause. This ends now, his father said. Whatever phase this is, it's not a phase. Tyler shouted. His whole body shook. God, why can't you just... Do not raise your voice at me. You don't listen unless I do. Tyler. No. Tyler stepped forward. I'm done pretending. I'm done hiding. I'm done being someone you approve of. His father stared at him, stunned, furious, disbelieving. You're my father, Tyler continued, voice cracking. You're supposed to love me, not own me. His father opened his mouth, but Tyler cut him off, voice shaking like fragile glass. And if you can't accept who I am, then I can't stay here. His father froze. The world froze with him. What did you say? He whispered. Tyler's breath trembled, but he held his ground. I said I'm leaving. His father's voice turned cold. You walk out that door, don't come back. Tyler blinked hard, tears threatening. Then I won't. And he reached for my hand, right in front of his father. No hiding, no shame. Our fingers locked together. The house went silent. His father stared at us, at our hands, at the choice Tyler had made. Then he turned away. Get out, he said, not shouting, just done. Tyler squeezed my hand. Let's go, he whispered. We walked past his father, down the stairs, through the living room, out the door, into the cold air of the world outside. Tyler didn't look back. Not once. The door closed behind us with a sound that felt heavier than wood on metal. It felt like a chapter slamming shut, like a life collapsing inward. Tyler didn't let go of my hand, not even when we stepped off the porch, not when we crossed the front yard, not when we reached the edge of the driveway, where his father couldn't hear us anymore. He held on like he was afraid I'd disappear as soon as he let go. His breathing was shaky, uneven. He didn't cry, but his eyes glistened with something raw, something too big for either of us to name yet. Tyler, I whispered, are you okay? No, he said honestly, but I'm not going back in there. He looked at the house he'd grown up in, the windows, the porch swing, the walls that held 1,000 expectations and none of his truths. Then he squeezed my hand harder. Let's go, he said, before I change my mind. We walked toward his truck in silence. The sun was beginning to set, turning the sky orange and purple, like the world was holding its breath with us. When we reached the truck, Tyler stopped and leaned both hands on the hood, dropping his head. His shoulders trembled. I stood beside him, letting him find his breath, letting him be human, letting him break in a way he'd never allowed himself before. After a long silence, he said softly, He's never going to forgive me. I swallowed. Maybe he will one day. No, Tyler whispered. Not him. Not someone like him. He let out a bitter laugh. You know what's crazy? I think part of me always knew it would end like this. What do you mean? He straightened, wiping his face with the back of his hand. I've been pretending since middle school, he said. Pretending I liked girls. Pretending I cared about the stupid social rules. Pretending that being the quarterback was enough to make me forget I wasn't who everyone thought I was. His voice broke. And every time I slipped, every time I looked too long at someone I shouldn't have, I'd tell myself, Don't be this. Don't ruin your life. I stepped closer. Tyler, your life isn't ruined. He looked at me, tired, scared, hopeful, all at once. You don't get it. I walked away from everything. My home, my family, my father, and you walked toward yourself, I said gently. He swallowed hard. And toward you, he added quietly. My chest tightened. He opened the truck door. Get in, please. We drove with the windows down, the cold evening wind hitting our faces. Tyler didn't speak for the first 10 minutes. He just stared ahead, jaw clenched, eyes focused on nothing. Then he finally said, I don't know where we're going. Anywhere, I said. Just away. He nodded. Yeah, away sounds good. He hesitated, then added, almost shyly, You trust me, right? I looked at him, at the boy who had just walked out his life to save his truth. At this point, I said softly, you're the only thing I trust. He didn't smile, but the tightness in his face loosened, just a little. We drove all the way across town and ended up in the parking lot behind a closed grocery store. That weird safe, kind of empty, where nobody bothers you. Tyler turned off the engine. Suddenly the world felt too quiet, too still. He dropped his forehead onto the steering wheel, breath shaking. I don't know what to do now, he whispered. You don't have to know tonight, I said, one step at a time. He looked up at me, eyes red. Why are you still here? The question hit hard. It wasn't insecurity, it was disbelief. He genuinely didn't understand why someone would choose him after what just happened. Because you didn't face that alone, I said. And you don't have to face anything alone anymore. He looked at me like the words hurt, but in a way that meant they mattered. Then, slowly, Tyler reached for my hand again. The way he held it was different now. Not scared anymore. Determined. Certain. I've wanted this for so long, he said, voice trembling. Longer than I'll ever admit. Then don't admit it, I whispered. Just feel it. He leaned closer, cautious but steady. There was no trembling this time, no hesitation, no fear being caught. Just us. Finally us. His forehead rested gently against mine. The warmth of him was overwhelming. Real. I don't know how to be this version of myself, he said quietly, but I want to learn. I lifted his chin slightly with my hand. You will? I whispered, and I'll be here. His breath hitched, not from fear this time, but from something closer to relief. Then he whispered, Ethan, can I? Yes. I breathed. You can. Slowly, carefully, like he'd spent years imagining it. Tyler closed the distance between us. Our lips met in the softest, most fragile collision. Gentle, terrified, beautiful. The kind of kiss that doesn't ask for anything. It just says, finally. He pulled back only an inch, eyes still closed, breathing shakily. I'm scared, he whispered. I know, I said. So am I. He opened his eyes, then green, glassy, alive. But I'm more scared of not having you, he said. My chest ached. In the best way. You won't lose me. I promised. He squeezed my hand, firm, certain. I won't let that happen, he whispered. The night stretched around us. Cool, quiet, full of new beginnings. The boy everyone wanted had finally chosen himself. And somehow, impossibly, he had chosen me too. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes it begins with hiding, fear, and a door that almost opened on the wrong truth. It grows when someone dares to walk away from a life built on expectations and steps into the unknown for the sake of honesty. Tyler didn't lose everything. He finally found himself. And Ethan found someone worth fighting for. What would you have done in that moment? Would you have walked out too? Or stayed in the shadows a little longer? If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More emotional stories like this are coming.